So I'm super excited to show you my updated home lab. So I spent a bit of time, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll see that my home lab has evolved and developed over the years. And I just recently got some new tech that has just sort of taken it up to that whole other level. And I absolutely love it. We're gonna show you essentially a full build of what I did. And this is also tips for you. Maybe you've never built a home lab before. Maybe you're exploring the whole space. Maybe you've got a home lab and you want to build it up and you want to get some ideas. Well, this video is going to cover end to end my full build of my home lab, including picking out my rack, getting the equipment, racking it all up, and then showing you around my home some of the tech that I've got set up. Now, for me, my home lab essentially is acting as a lab. So like a scientific lab, right? We go and test stuff. It's not a scientific lab, it's a tech lab. Right? So I'm going to be testing stuff. I use this for my own development, for my own learning, to stay up to date with what's going on in technology. But I also use it as my main home network. And because I'm a tech geek, I've got a lot more tech at home that a lot of people just don't generally have. And I've got the ability, because I have some of the skills, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go and set up and geek out with my equipment at home. So I use this as part of my day network, right? A part of my network to make sure that my home is secure, it's updated, it's automated, all of that really, really cool stuff. Hey, great video. Stay to the end so that you can see exactly how this thing looks. It's gonna be fun. Hey, we release videos every week on all things tech on this channel. If you wanna follow along, that way you don't miss out on anything, click on that subscription button, click on the bell. And also, I've got a whole bunch of tech training courses available on Udemy. Down below of this video description, I've got links to some of those, some of them only, but there's heaps of them. There's 30, 40 plus courses on all things technology, network, server, security, IT management, interview help, all of that stuff. So a full end-to-end summary so that you can become better at tech across whatever field you are interested and you work in. So go check some of those out. And I've got coupon codes down below. If you click on some of those links, you get huge discounts for some of those courses. They will help you out definitely. Okay, let's now show you my empty rack and we'll go through a little bit of a discussion around what is what. So let me give you a little bit of a summary here on my UPS setup. Now, of course, the UPS is used for backing up my power. So all of my equipment is running through my UPS. I've got a couple of PDU units and all of the stuff runs into that. So power distribution units, all the tech runs into that. And then that in turn then runs through a UPS to make sure that all of my equipment is all backed up. But I will also say that within my house environment, I drive a Tesla. So with that, I've also invested in some solar panels on my roof, as well as backup power. So I've got what's called a power wall by Tesla. And then that also sources all the electricity from the sun, free electricity, it's so cool. And then that also feeds into my overall house. So I've got a second layer of backup power, 24/7, very cool. Now, when I designed my home lab, I started off getting some free tech, right? So I had some old equipment that I just didn't need anymore, old laptops, old desktops, and that's sort of how I started out. So it was normal stuff that you'd find at home. Maybe in a workplace, you've got some old equipment, you can repurpose some of that and remove Windows, whatever version of Windows you've got, install Windows Server onto there. You can install Ubuntu, you can install CentOS, you can install other enterprise grade software. You could install VMware, Proxmox, Hyper-V, all of this other stuff. So you can actually go and build more of the hypervisor environments, and that's really cool. Or then you can do what I've done, where I've opted for a bit of a hybrid between smaller computers and bigger computers, a whole range of small mini PCs. I love my mini PCs. These are great little things to add into any home lab. They're small, they're compact, they're lightweight. Some of them don't have fans, which means they're like super silent. But then the trade-off with these mini PCs is they don't have the grunt. They don't have the oomph that you need to be able to build a whole bunch of powerful stuff. So you can use some of these mini PCs. Like one of mine would be a Raspberry Pi, for example. I've got Zimmer boards. These things are really small. They're really lightweight. They're really cheap. And these can run Linux quite easily, right? They can run Linux and you can do some pretty cool stuff. You can install some free open source stuff onto these and they work pretty well. You can install Windows onto them. that's when Windows and any sort of graphical user interface, even if you have Linux and you've got the fancy, icons, the GUI, that's going to chew up some resources. So the mini PCs are great for small single purposes. You want to run a bunch of additional stuff, it's going to start to use a lot more resources, which is why you then need to invest in either more powerful mini PCs that can do more stuff, or then you go down the bigger computer route into the server space. And that's what I've got over here. I've got myself a fully fledged server that does a whole bunch of additional things. Now, all of these servers do have storage, right? There's hard drives inside of these mini PCs and the servers. And they're combinations, right? You've got SAS, you've got SATA hard drives, and they're also SSDs, which means that there's no moving parts inside of them and they're a lot faster. And then the ones that do have moving parts, and that's all fine. The server that I'm going to build, or the server technology that I'm going to decide to use, if that dies, I lose everything. It's pretty annoying. And if I need to move a virtual machine from one computer to another, it's not really going to be the easiest process, especially if the storage is physically on this one device. So what I've opted to do is have a selection, and I've tried with lots of different brands of different NAS configurations. And a NAS is what's called a network attached storage. Essentially, it's a big piece of tech that is purposefully built for the purposes of storage and for storing stuff, for storing data. It's network attached storage, which means that it's available on the network. So because the storage is available on the network, it appears as drives. My VMs physically sit on my NAS, and that way my NAS acts as the source for all of these computers. So I can easily move stuff around between things because the central spot for all of my data is on my NAS. And that's obviously from a virtualization perspective why I choose to do that. But also, hey, that's where I just dump all of my data. I want to centrally store that in one spot. And if you're considering a home lab, I feel like a NAS is one of those essential things, because not only going to benefit you and your home lab, but it's going to benefit really your entire home network as well. Because hey, who needs storage? I do, you do. You're gonna need storage more and more into the future. And then this way you have a NAS, you can expand it, you can add additional disks later on, you're good to go. I've got some cameras set up. Now there's a couple of different setups that I've got, and I've played around with both of them. I've got what's called a DVR or an NVR, a digital video recorder or a network video recorder. And this is a device where I can have cameras all around my house, network cameras, or even coaxial sort of cameras. And they are just recording stuff that's going on front, back of my house. I love security, right? I do this for my day job. So I want to make sure that where I live is also secure. So I've got the cameras to make sure that things are going well. And I've also opted to use this technology called Ubiquiti, where I can just get really, really fancy here and have network-based cameras and centrally managing it within my Ubiquiti setup. Now, from a networking perspective, they've got so much different sorts of tech out there, and it all just talks to each other quite easily, quite seamlessly. You can be a network engineer without really needing to know the command line. So if you had to, go and manage some of these corporate enterprise firewalls and switches and routers, like you need to understand the Cisco command line language to really be able to manage it and manage it well. Or you can go down the Ubiquiti route, where a lot of this is now a GUI, a graphical user interface. And yes, you can access some of the back-end stuff, but it just makes it so much easier. So if you want to go and configure your network with specific VLANing, with specific security, certain ports, all of that stuff is all available, very, very easily configurable in the Ubiquiti. So that's why I've decided to go down this route for home as well as in the corporate space. And then I had to decide, how am I going to interconnect everything together, right? Because there's lots of different sorts of equipment, and then there's equipment throughout my home. There's lots of smart devices, there's the cameras, there's all of this, the TVs, and I need to interconnect everything together. Well, there's combinations here of Ethernet, and there's combinations of wireless, all right, wireless technology. So the setup here is all the stuff that's inside of my rack is going to be generally going to be Cat 6 or Cat 6A cabling. Throughout my house, I've got Ethernet points, again, running Cat 6 cabling. So then I can interconnect physical things that way. And they're gonna be combinations of 1 gig, of 2.5, or 10 gig interconnectivity depending on the technologies. And then my NAS is interconnected with my switch, which is 10 gig capable, at least for a couple of my ports through an SFP module that gives me 10 gig. Other stuff, other devices, other computers that I've got are gonna be 2.5 as my speed, and then the rest is just gonna be your traditional gigabit. So that's from a speed perspective. Then there's a whole bunch of tech that is not Ethernet, and this is where the wireless comes in. So I've got my Ubiquiti access points, my wireless access points, or my WAPs is what you'll commonly call them, and they're around my space. I've got 4 around my area, mounted on the roof, different spaces to give me wireless connectivity. And this is running the newer Wi-Fi version 7, and it runs fantastically well. And that's running against the 2.4, the 5, and the 6 gigahertz range, depending on the tech that I've got. And I've decided to keep 2.4 on because there's some older computers, there's some older like IoT devices like smart lights and things like that still run on that older one. Otherwise, I would have switched that off and gone to full 5. And then there's 6, which is for even newer stuff. But this is really set up for devices that are not capable of Ethernet. And of course, all of these wireless access points are hardwired with an Ethernet cable that is then running into my switch, and my switch gives it power over Ethernet, which means that the wireless access points get power and data through the one single cable. Very, very cool. So I've really gone and customized this thing for my purposes. And you want to go, if you're thinking about building your own, build it how you want. Don't copy what I've got, like honestly. But I'm pretty happy with what it is right now. And I'm telling you, we'll do an update here in probably 6 months' time, and I'm gonna have some additional new stuff. I may have changed things around because tech is changing so quickly. So I'm gonna wanna try to stay up to date where I can to be able to play around with the latest and greatest tech where possible. Hey, why don't you let us know in the comments, what does your home lab look like? What is the purpose of your home lab? What are some of the features and functionalities that it is offering? I said at the start as well, I've got a full-length training course on lots of stuff tech, on a full home lab training course, by the way, but also lots of other things about storage, networking, security, management, data, whole bunch of stuff. If you want to improve in your interview skills when you're going for that tech interview, go check out some of those down below. I've got links to them, and I've got coupon codes on some of those links, so you get them super cheap as well. Love it if you continue to follow along with this channel. Click on the subscription button, click on the bell. We release videos all the time on all things tech. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video.